Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Speaker in the Spotlight, which is your opportunity to meet some of the speakers that are going to be at the upcoming Children's Mental Health Matters Summit, which kicks off very, very soon on the 16th of September. Tickets are free, so if you haven't yet registered, you can go to children'smentalhealthmatterssummit.co.uk. The link will be above this interview, and you can have a look at the lineup and get your free ticket there. So without further ado, let's welcome today's speaker, who is Annika Vincent. Good morning, Annika.
Morning, Cassie.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
Good. I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for asking. So I'm going to hand straight over to you and ask you just to give us a little bit of an introduction to yourself, not your business, but who you are and what you enjoy doing.
Hi. So I'm Annika. I live in Winchester in Hampshire with my husband, a daughter, 4 cats and a dog. So we're, as probably from that, you can tell we're quite animal crazy. I'm obviously self-employed, but I do also have a small part-time job where I work as a clerk to school governors. So I'm in the education system, which I absolutely love. I keep it going just because it is something I actually am passionate about. Hobby-wise, I love crafting. I don't get anywhere near enough time to sit and do it, but my husband will tell you that when we retire, I'm not going to need to buy anything because I just buy stuff and I've got storage everywhere. And I love swimming and netball, but I have recently ruptured my Achilles playing netball, so I fear those days may now be over and I'll have to do something a little bit different. And we love getting out as a family camping or walking the dogs. And where we are in Winchester, we're really lucky that we're quite near the countryside, lots of forests. So we get out as a family where we can.
Oh, amazing. That sounds lovely. And yeah, as you can see, I've got one of my cats joining. We have a dog and 5 cats. So it adds to the fun in the house, doesn't it? For sure. Amazing. So that's incredible. And so you said you were self-employed. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your business and sort of how you got into that and who you help with that, please?
Yeah. So I worked for 14 years for IBM, so in corporate IT. Unfortunately, I lost my mother in my early 20s, so just over 20 years ago, and did the opposite of grieving. I worked, I was early 20s, so I was working hard, going out socializing, did a lot of exercise and didn't really deal with it. And within a couple of years, I completely burnt out and ended up in hospital and was diagnosed with chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. Eventually kind of went back to corporate, but typical, you're meant to be on a gradual rein. It just didn't happen. And I started to have lots of burnouts and stuff. So I knew that I needed to do something different. And back sort of 20 years ago, chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia was very much a pull yourself together and get on with it. So about 8-9 years ago, I was really struggling to even be mum and go to the park because I was really tired and exhausted and in pain. So it just kind of hit a brick wall. And someone suggested I speak to sort of a friend of a friend who worked with essential oils and did aromatherapy. So I did that, and I'll be honest, I was a little bit tentative at first because I was like, well, how are these going to help? I always thought of them as nice, smelly things that go in candles and stuff like that. But I was at the point where it's like, I need to try something, and I wanted it to be natural. I didn't want to be drugged up. I wanted to try and, we try and go as eco-friendly, but also as toxic-free as possible within the house. So I was like, okay, I'll try them. So I tried them, and also our daughter was struggling with sleep. She has quite a lot of challenges. So we were trying the diffuser in her room. We sort of borrowed one. And within a week, we were absolutely transformed by essential oils and aromatherapy. We were totally sold. She was sleeping a lot better. I was starting to feel better. I could feel my pain was reducing. I was getting a bit more energy. And at that point, I'd left IBM and I was looking for something that I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be self-employed. I wanted to be in control of what I was doing and still have full chance to be mum. And it just sort of spiraled from there. I'm someone that needs to know everything. So I started to research essential oils. I wanted to sort of understand what they were and how they were working. and just became more and more hooked on them, and decided that I wanted to help people in a natural way, if possible. But I didn't want to do, no disrespect to those that do it, but I didn't want to just do aromatherapy massaging. I wanted to actually use the oils. And someone recommended studying clinical aromatherapy, which is a lot more where you use the oils. And that's what I did. And I went off and studied over COVID, which was quite difficult because we couldn't meet and blend and do all of that. So we did all the theory. And as soon as we could get together with the tutor, we then sort of did a lot of the blending and the case studies. And it's just gone from there. It's just something that I fell in love with, not a career journey I ever would have thought about 20 years ago. But yeah, my health and having a challenging daughter kind of led me to it. And we just, everything in the house is essential oils now. We try and make sure everything's toxic free. So I can work with anybody, basically. It's always a tough one because people say, what's your ideal client? And it can be anybody that's looking for that sort of natural support. Because I'm clinically trained, I can work alongside GPs and specialists. I volunteer in a cancer for a cancer charity, so supporting ladies and men that are going through cancer and their families. So I've trained in cancer care with aromatherapy as a specialism, and I've just started training in autism because obviously our daughter is autistic. So that will also be a specialism. But work with, my father has arthritis, so he has a cream from me. I've got a friend who suffers with diabetes, and I work with her, and she's reduced her medication. And we work with a couple of schools. So yeah, I can kind of really support anyone that's in that natural method of wanting to look after themselves.
Wow, that all sounds absolutely amazing, and it does fascinate me how, when you say like it's just oils, like what they're capable of. But when you think about it, they're from the natural world, therefore it was provided, wasn't it, to help us.
Absolutely.
So amazing. And so if people wanted to find out more about you and what you do, and if they've got any questions, obviously the links do go with the interview, but people do tend to sort of be more contactable in one place more than the other. So if people wanted to get in touch with you, what would be the best way for them to do that?
So my website is up and running. So that's www.essentiallyserene.co.uk, and there is a contact form through that for email. I am on Facebook. I am also on Instagram, but I'm still building my confidence in using Instagram. So I would say probably through my website or Facebook, either Annika Vincent on Facebook or also Essentially Serene is my business page that I'm starting to, again, build on Facebook. Are probably the quickest and easiest ways to get hold of me.
Amazing. So please do reach out to Annika if you've got any questions or you want to find out more about anything, and she will be happy to get in touch with you. So just a slight change of track now. So this is your first time at the summit, so welcome. But what was it that drew you to joining the summit this year?
I think primarily, children's mental health is something that I'm really passionate about. I think it doesn't take a genius to see that our younger generation are struggling. They've had a lot to deal with as well over the last few years, as well as normal life. And as a parent of an adopted child with autism, she struggles with emotions regulation. She struggles with her mental health, confidence. And we've had a tough battle through the mainstream school, getting her the EHCP and getting her into specialist provision that she needs, that we've achieved. But it annoys me that as parents, we've had to fight over 4 years and she's missed education. And that's had a big toll on her mental health as well. And it's something that I'm really passionate about because, and I work, again, as a clerk for governors, I see a lot going on in schools and I do understand some of the challenges they have, but it's something I'm quite vocal about, that things like compassion and just talking to children and taking time to listen doesn't cost anything. And I think if more of that was going on in schools, we perhaps wouldn't have some of the challenges. So yeah, it's something that's close to my heart because we've got a child that struggles, but also I don't see enough happening in schools, and I think it could be.
Yeah, Yeah, and I'm sure, well, yourself and many people know my opinions on that, so I won't even input anything because we'll be here for the rest of the day. So,
if you get me on my soapbox, I don't stop either.
yes. So yeah, I will. But yeah, it's amazing to have you on board and talking about something really amazing, which brings me on to my next question. So do you want to give us a sneak peek as to what your presentation will be covering?
Yeah, so again, the essential oils can be used in so many different ways, but I think I had a long think and came up with, I think, anxiety, whether that's specifically in schools or in life for children, and not just with my daughter Taylor, but just seeing some of her friends over the last few years and talking to some of their mums. Anxiety seems to have really grown in our children, and things like separation anxiety seems to be a big thing. And it's something that actually is, the oils are not going to solve the anxiety. You need to find the core of what's causing that and work on that. But when you're in that anxious state, it's how can you manage that? How can you control the symptoms? How can you calm down and sort of thing? And the one thing I love as well about essential oils is I think the children can use them themselves. We can teach the children to use them. So anxiety to me can feel very out of control. I suffer with a bit of anxiety, and you get overwhelmed and you feel very out of control. And so something like using the oils and just giving them those own tools can hopefully take some of that overwhelm away from children, and they can feel like they've got a little bit of control over their own well-being and that they're managing those symptoms. So yeah, that's kind of what I focused on. And it's such a broad range of oils. You'll see within the presentation, there's so many different oils that can be used in different ways, that I thought that was a broad range of information to get out for something that's quite critical in children.
Yeah, amazing. And I love how it is, it's natural and things like that, and the effects that they have. And yeah, when you talk about anxiety, I think if you've seen Inside Out 2, I think they captured it brilliantly. And I won't give any spoilers, but I imagine like towards the end, that's what the oils do when they sort of put anxiety over in a corner somewhere.
Yes.
So yeah, amazing. So
it's you saying I've got control of this, and I, it's not going to solve whatever's causing it, but you've got some of that control, and I find that quite powerful.
Yeah, it gives them something, and as you say, when you have something that a child can use themselves, it also increases their confidence, and they're empowered. They feel more empowered. So it's it's more than just this or just that. It's about the whole well-being. Yes. So that is amazing. So please do tune in to watch Annika's presentation. And was there anything else you wanted to add, or do you feel that we've covered everything?
No, I think we've covered everything. I'm really excited. Like I say, it's my first year being involved. I've sat and watched it from the sidelines before and thought, almost thought about how I could fit in, and it sort of has finally, a bit delayed, but it came to me. So yes, I'm really, really joyed to be part of this for my first time, and hopefully many more, and look forward to a lot of the other talks that are part of the summit as well, because I think it's important for adults, but I also think it's important for the children.
Yeah, amazing. And yeah, thank you so much for being on board this year. So for now, we will say goodbye. Thank you for your time today, Annika, and please do join us again soon for another speaker in the spotlight. But for now, see you all soon. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you.